The sterile beep of the heart monitor pierced the dim hospital room like a knife, each pulse a mocking reminder that time was slipping away. Dad's eyes, once sharp as a hawk's, fluttered open, locking onto Shane with a desperation that sucked the air from the space. "Son," he croaked, voice gravelly from years of barking orders on the farm. "I lied to you. About everything. About him. Brandon's the only real blood I got left." Shane's knuckles whitened on the bed rail, his broad shoulders tensing like coiled wire, while across the bed, Brandon froze, the brother he'd shoved into lockers, called Fairy in high school parking lots, and ghosted for a decade, now stared back with eyes that held no triumph, only a hollow ache that mirrored the storm raging outside the rain-smeared window. Rain hammered the roof of the old Ford pickup as Shane gripped the wheel, his jaw set like concrete. It was 2008, senior year at Lincoln High in rural Ohio, the kind of nowhere town where cornfields stretched like yellow oceans and everyone knew your daddy's sins before you did. The truck's headlights cut through the downpour, illuminating the gravel drive to their family farm. But Shane's mind was elsewhere, on the bonfire party at Miller's Pond, where the keg had flowed and the girls had giggled, and where his little brother, Brandon, had just blown up their whole damn world. He slammed the door behind him, boots squelching in the mud as he stormed into the kitchen. Dad was there, hunched over the Formica table nursing a Budweiser, his calloused hands dwarfing the bottle. Mom had been gone 5 years now, cancer, quick and cruel, and the house still smelled like her apple pies, faint under the tang of motor oil and regret. "What the hell happened out there?" Shane demanded, voice low but edged with fury. He dragged Brandon home after the whispers turned to shouts at the party. After Tommy Hargrove had cornered Bran by the fire and sneered, "Heard you been sucking dick behind the bleachers. Queer boy." Dad didn't look up, just took a slow swig. "Heard the talk. Your ma would roll in her grave." Brandon slunk in behind Shane, soaked to the bone, his skinny frame shivering under a hoodie that hung loose on his 17-year-old shoulders. Dark hair plastered to his forehead, eyes downcast like a whipped dog. "It ain't like that, Dad," he mumbled, voice cracking. I like who I like. It's me. Ain't changin'." Shane barked a laugh, sharp and ugly, the sound echoing off the linoleum. "Likes who he likes? Jesus. Bran, you sound like one of them sissy poets. Tommy said you were making out with that city kid from the art club. What, you gonna prance around drawing flowers and kissing boys now?" He loomed over Brandon, all 6'2" of football-built muscle, the quarterback who'd led the Eagles to state semis. Mockery was easy. It was armor, passed down from Dad's Bible-thumping rants about real men and God's natural order. Dad set the bottle down with a clink, his face a mask of weathered oak. 52 years of plowing fields and preaching fire and brimstone at the First Baptist. "Boys confused. Shane. Devil's work. We'll pray on it, set him straight." But his eyes flicked to Brandon with something darker, a flicker of disgust that twisted Shane's gut. He'd always been the golden son, the one Dad clapped on the back after games, the heir to the 200 acres of soybeans and heartache. Brandon, the dreamer with charcoal sketches pinned to his bedroom walls, the kid who'd rather hike the backwoods alone than toss a pigskin. That night, as thunder rattled the windows, Shane cornered Brandon in their shared room upstairs. The space was a battlefield. Shane's side posters of Brett Favre and half-empty protein shake cans. Brandon's a chaos of sketchbooks and indie band stickers. "You gonna ruin us, you little shit," Shane hissed, shoving Brandon against the dresser. A lamp teetered, crashed. "Dad's right, you're sick. Fix it, or I'll beat it out of ya." Brandon's lips split on the edge of the wood, blood blooming coppery on his tongue. But he didn't cry. Not then. "I ain't broken, Shane. You're just scared, 'cause you don't get it." His voice was steady. Green eyes, mom's eyes, locking on his brother's with a defiance that would haunt Shane later, in quieter moments he pretended didn't exist. The mocking started small, a drip that became a flood. At breakfast, Shane's jabs about pancakes for princesses. In the halls at school, a shoulder check that sent Brandon sprawling, followed by a stage whisper, "Watch it, glitter boy." Dad never stopped it. Hell, he fueled it with sermons over pot roast about Sodom and family honor. "Shane's got the right idea," he'd grunt. "Tough love straightens spines." And Brandon? He retreated into his art. Charcoal strokes capturing the curve of a jawline he'd glimpsed in a magazine, the ache in his chest growing like weeds in cracked soil. By graduation, the farm felt like a cage. Shane headed to Ohio State on a partial ride, pledging a frat and chasing tail like it was the Super Bowl. Brandon stayed, working the fields to save for escape, his sketches piling up like unspoken apologies. Dad's health was fraying, back pain from years bent over the tractor, but he waved off doctors, blaming weak blood on the side of the family that produced odd ducks like Bran. One sticky July evening, as cicadas screamed in the heat, Brandon packed a duffel in the barn loft. Fireflies danced like lost souls outside. He'd gotten into Pratt Institute in Brooklyn on a merit scholarship, his portfolio of raw, emotional portraits sealing the deal. New York, a city of reinvention, where boys like him could breathe without the weight of a brother's sneer or a father's judgment. Shane rolled up in his beat-up Chevy, fresh off summer practice, smelling of sweat and cheap cologne. He climbed the ladder, face darkening at the sight of the bag. "Runnin' away, fairy? Figures. Leavin' Dad to rot while you chase rainbows." "It's not running," Brandon shot back, zipping the bag with finality. "It's living. You should try it sometime, instead of playin' Dad's bully." Shane's fist connected with the hay bale, not Bran, but close enough to send dust motes swirling. "You'll come crawlin' back. Who else is gonna want a pansy like you? Dad says you're a disgrace." "Hell, I say it too." The words landed like punches, but Brandon's heart had calloused over. He shouldered the bag, descended the ladder, and walked into the twilight without looking back. The Greyhound to Penn Station was a blur of fluorescent lights and stranger stories. Brandon pressed his forehead to the grimy window, sketching the passing heartland on a napkin, endless fields giving way to steel spires. Freedom tasted like stale coffee and possibility. Brooklyn hit like a fever dream, brownstones crammed with artists, the air thick with street vendor falafel and exhaust. Pratt was a whirlwind. Life drawing classes where nude models, men, women, everything in between, posed without shame. Professors who called his work visceral poetry. He rented a shoebox in Williamsburg, walls papered with his own prints, and for the first time, the mirror didn't lie back at him. That's where he met Alex. It was a drizzly October night at a queer open mic in a Bushwick dive bar, the kind with peeling paint and poetry slams that bled vulnerability. Brandon had mustered the courage to read a piece, a raw monologue about a boy loving shadows in a house of straight lines. The crowd snapped instead of clapped, a ripple of approval that warmed his bones. Alex was at the bar afterward, nursing a gin and tonic, his laugh cutting through the haze like sunlight. 25, with tousled auburn hair, freckles dusting his nose, and a lopsided grin that screamed Midwestern transplant. Chicago, turned out. Graphic designer by day, spoken word poet by night. That piece gutted me, he said, sliding onto the stool next to Brandon. Like you carved out your ribs to show us the ache inside. They talked till closing, about Van Gogh's ear and the hypocrisy of small-town saints, about the boys they'd loved who ran scared. Alex's hand brushed Brandon's on the sticky bar top, electric, and when they stumbled out into the rain, lips met under a street lamp, tentative then fierce. It was messy, real, tongues tasting of gin and hope, bodies pressing close against the chill. Back in the shoebox, clothes shed like old skins, Alex traced the faded scar on Brandon's lip with a thumb. "Who's this from?" he murmured, voice husky in the dark. "My brother," Brandon whispered, the admission a release. "He thought he was saving me." Alex pulled him closer, heartbeat sinking like a promise. "Some people save you by breaking you first." That night, tangled in thrift store sheets, Brandon felt seen, not as the family freak, but as whole. Alex stayed till dawn, brewing coffee strong as tar, and they laughed over burnt toast, planning exhibits and road trips. Love, Brandon learned, wasn't fireworks. It was the quiet anchor in a storm. Months blurred into a rhythm. Classes, gigs, stolen weekends in Central Park where Alex sketched logos on napkins and Brandon captured his profile in quick strokes. But Ohio tugged like a loose thread. Dad's letters came sporadic, stiff updates on crop yields, veiled digs about city vices. Shane's silence was louder, a void that echoed the old hurts. Then, the call came on a crisp November morning. Alex's arm slung over him in sleep. Unknown Ohio number. Brandon's stomach dropped as Dad's voice rasped through. "Boy, this is bad. Docs say 6 months, maybe less. Come home. We got things to square." He hung up, staring at the skyline from their fire escape, rain mixing with the tears he hadn't shed in years. Home, a word laced with thorns. But blood was blood, and unfinished business had a way of festering. Alex woke, read his face like a book. "Go," he said simply, kissing his temple. "I'll hold the fort. Just come back to me." The flight to Columbus was turbulence all the way, mirroring the churn in his gut. Rental car to the farm, corn stubble like bones under gray skies. The house loomed unchanged, peeling white-clabbered, the porch swing creaking in the wind. Dad sat in his recliner, gaunt under the Afghan mom crocheted, oxygen tank hissing like a serpent. "Bran," he said, voice thinner than paper. No hug, just a nod. "You look." City. Shane was there too, in the doorway, arms crossed over his flannel shirt. The same broad frame but etched with lines, 32 now. Divorced after a shotgun Vegas wedding. Back on the farm full-time after his construction gig tanked in the recession. "Little bro," he drawled, the old smirk flickering. "Heard you got yourself a boyfriend." "Dad says you're livin' in sin up there." The mockery slithered back, familiar as rust. Brandon's fists clenched, but he swallowed it. "Shane. Good to see you too." Dinner was strained. Overcooked pork chops and silence broken by Dad's coughs. As Shane cleared plates, he leaned in close. "Don't think this changes nothin'. You're still the same disappointment. Brandon met his gaze. Steady. Maybe. But I'm here now. For him. Outside. Under a harvest moon. Brandon walked the fields alone. Ghosts whispering in the wind. The boy he'd been lingered here. Bruised but unbroken. Coming home wasn't closure. It was reopening the wound. The farmhouse kitchen glowed under the harsh fluorescence. Steam rising from a pot of chili like ghosts from the past. It was Brandon's third day back. The air thick with the scent of cumin and unspoken grudges. Dad shuffled in his slippers, the oxygen cannula a constant tether, while Shane hovered like a storm cloud, cracking open Accords and eyeing Brandon with that same predatory glint from their teen years. Pass the cornbread. Fairy, Shane said, the word slipping out casual as butter, but it landed like a slap. Dad chuckled weakly from his chair, waving it off. Boys'll be boys. Bran. Shane's just joshin'. Brandon's fork paused mid-air, beans blurring on the plate. 10 years in New York had sanded his edges, taught him to sidestep barbs like potholes on the L train, but here, festered fresh. Call me that again, Shane, and we're done pretendin' this is family. Shane's laugh boomed, hollow. Pretendin'? Hell, I've been carryin' this place since you bailed. Dad's sick. Crops are dyin'. And you swan in from your art fag paradise like some savior. He leaned forward, veins bulging in his neck. We all know why Mom got sick. Stress from your bullshit. Dad told me. The lie hung there, venomous. Mom's cancer, a specter they'd all tiptoed around. Dad had never said that, not outright, but Shane's conviction made it real. Brandon's chest tightened, memories flooding, hospital vigils, her frail hand in his, whispering, be brave, baby. Love big, she'd known. Somehow, hugged him tighter after the party fallout, slipped him a wad of cash for whatever dreams you chase. Dad, Brandon turned, voice cracking. The old man avoided his eyes, stirring sugar into tea that wouldn't get drunk. That true, cough rattled Dad's frame. Water under the bridge. Son. Eat up. But Shane wasn't done. Later, as Brandon washed dishes, his brother sidled up, breath beery. You think that pretty boy in Brooklyn fixes you? Dad says you're a phase, a bad one. Come home permanent, help out, or get lost for good. The sponge slipped from Brandon's hand, suds swirling down the drain like his resolve. I came for Dad, not your approval. And Alex, he's more man than you'll ever be. Loves without conditions. Shane's face twisted, a flash of something raw envy, pain, before the mask slammed down. Fags don't love. They fuck and flee. He shoved past, shoulder clipping Brandon hard enough to bruise. That night, Brandon called Alex from the porch, phone pressed to ear as crickets chorused. It's like stepping back in time, he said, voice low. Shane's worse. Dad's fading. Alex's reply was warm gravel, steadying. You're stronger than them, Bran. Remember that poem you read? The one about roots and wings? You're the wings. A pause. Then softer. Miss you. Sent you a care package, sketch supplies, and that gin you like. Tears pricked Brandon's eyes. Unbidden. Love you. This'll be quick. But quick wasn't in the cards. Dad's 6 months shrank to weeks. The cancer, pancreatic, had metastasized like kudzu. Hospital runs blurred. Sterile halls in Mansfield General. the beep of IVs a dirge. Shane drove, grip white-knuckled on the wheel, radio blasting classic rock to drown the quiet. Brandon sketched in waiting rooms, Dad's hands, gnarled as old roots. Shane's profile, jaw clenched in perpetual war. One afternoon, tubes snaking from Dad's arms, the old man gripped Brandon's wrist. Proud of you, boy. Them drawings. Like your ma's eyes, his voice wheezed, but the words landed soft. A bomb on old Burns. Shane, flipping through a magazine in the corner, snorted. Proud? Of what? Prancing around with dudes? Save it. Dad. The room chilled. Dad's eyes sharpened. A ghost of the farmer who once wrestled steers. Enough, Shane. Your brother's got heart. More'n most. But Shane's retort was a grenade. Heart? He's got weakness. Remember the funeral, Dad? Maz? He was off mopin' with his sketchbook while I shoveled dirt. Weak blood, that's what you said. Dad's face paled. Monitors spiking. Nurses bustled in, shooing them out. In the hall, Brandon rounded on Shane. What the fuck is wrong with you? He's dying. Shane's eyes blazed, but his voice dropped, almost pleading. You left us, Bran. After Ma, when it was hell, harvests failin', bills pillin', you split for your fairy tale. Dad needed muscle, not this. He gestured vaguely at Brandon's slim build. The silver ring Alex had slipped on his finger last spring. I left 'cause I was drownin' here, Brandon hissed. Your tough love, your mocks, your shoves, it was killin' me slow. And Dad, he let it happen. A nurse interrupted, clipboard in hand. Family meeting tomorrow. End of life planning. The word end echoed as they drove home in silence, wipers slapping rhythm like accusations. Back in Brooklyn, Alex had been a lifeline, texts peppered with heart emojis, voice memos of him reading Neruda in that husky timbre. Their love had deepened in stolen moments. Lazy Sundays in bed, Alex's fingers tracing Brandon's spine as they whispered futures. A joint exhibit, a loft in the village, maybe adoption down the line. You're my muse, Alex would say, nuzzling his neck. And my home, now, from Ohio. Brandon poured that into calls. Tell me about the city lights, he'd beg, and Alex would paint pictures. Neon buzzing on wet pavement, the subway's rumble like a heartbeat. Kept him afloat. The family meeting was a minefield. In a windowless office smelling of bleach and despair, the social worker outlined options. Hospice, palliative care. Dad, wheeled in last, clutched a faded photo Mom, radiant at their wedding, arm around a younger him. Shane dominated, barking questions about costs, farm handover. I'll take it all, he declared. Keep it runnin' like Dad wants. Brandon nodded absently, mind on Dad's labored breaths. But when the lawyer arrived, a bespectacled guy from town with a manila envelope, the air shifted. Mr. Harlan's will, he intoned. To be read post-passing, but he insists on preview for clarity. Dad nodded weakly. The words tumbled out. The farm, the savings, the life insurance, all to Shane. My eldest. The steady hand. Nothing for Brandon. Not a dime. Not a mention. Betrayal hit like frostbite, numbing then burning. Shane's grin was smug. Told ya, little bro. Blood don't mean shit if you ain't earned it. Dad's eyes met Brandon's. Pleading, sorry? Ashamed? But no words came. The lawyer cleared his throat. It's ironclad. Outside, in the parking lot, rain slicking the asphalt, Brandon lit a cigarette. A habit Alex had helped him quit, but desperation clawed it back. Shane clapped his shoulder. Too hard. Don't take it personal. You got your lifestyle. This is for family. Family? Brandon spat the smoke, voice breaking. You've hated me since I was honest. And Dad? He just erased me. He flung the butt, sparks dying in puddles. Fuck you both. He walked then, miles to the farm, boots pounding gravel till his lungs burned. Inside, alone, he pulled out his sketchpad. Alex's package had arrived, charcoals gleaming like promises. He drew Dad's face, shadowed with secrets, Shane's fists, clenched around ghosts. That night, Dad worsened. Fever spiked. Delirium set in. Nurses swarmed, but Shane slept through it, snoring in the guest chair. Brandon held vigil, wiping brows, murmuring stories of New York sunsets. I forgive you, Dad, he whispered to the unconscious form. But it hurts. Dawn broke gray, and the doctor pulled them aside. Hours, maybe. Call who you need. Brandon dialed Alex first. Come, he said simply. I can't do this alone. Alex's flight landed by noon, him striding through arrivals in a peacoat dusted with snow, early flurries chasing him from JFK. He enveloped Brandon in the lot, strong arms a harbor. I'm here, love. Shane sized him up at the hospital, sneer curling. The prince arrives. Hope you packed your glitter. Alex's smile was steel. Shane, right? Brandon's told me. Stories. But family's family. Truce. Shane grunted, turning away. But in the room, as Dad rallied briefly, eyes clearing, Alex sat quiet, hand in Brandon's, a silent bulwark. Alex, Dad rasped, managing a nod. The artist. Something like that, Alex replied, voice even. Brandon's my everything. Dad's gaze lingered, something softening, regret, recognition, then the monitors wailed, nurses flooding in. Chaos codes called, paddles charging. Shane bellowed, fight, Dad, don't you quit. Brandon clung to Alex, world narrowing to the flatline scream. They lost him at 3:47 p.m., the room emptying to echoes. Funeral was a blur. Baptist hymns, casseroles from neighbors. Shane's eulogy a litany of hard work and faith. Brandon spoke last, voice steady. He taught me strength in fields, in silence. Rest easy, Dad. Alex stood sentinel, thumb rubbing circles on his palm. After, at the graveside, dirt pattering on pine, Shane pulled Brandon aside. Will's read tomorrow. Farm's mine. You get memories, I guess. The betrayal crystallized, cold as the December wind. Memories. That's rich. Alex intervened, arm around Brandon. We're good, Shane. But if you ever want to know your brother, the real one, doors open. Shane's laugh was bitter. Pass. Blood's blood. But yours? Tainted. They left at dusk. Taillights fading on Route 30. In the motel, Alex held him as sobs racked. Grief. Rage. Loss. He chose Shane, Brandon choked. Erased me. Alex kissed his eyelids. He chose fear. You choose love. That's the win. But as they boarded the red-eye home, Brandon's phone buzzed. Shane. One more thing. Dad left a letter. For you. Come get it. Curiosity warred with dread. Tomorrow, Brandon texted back. Brooklyn welcomed them with indifferent bustle, subway rats, and coffee carts. Their loft felt sacred, walls alive with joint art, Brandon's portraits intertwined with Alex's digital overlays. They made love slow, reclaiming bodies a map of survival, whispers of mine against skin. Yet sleep evaded. Dad's letter loomed, Pandora's box. Morning brought it, drive back, Shane waiting on the porch, envelope crisp in his hand. Read it here, he said, voice flat. Then go. Brandon slid it open, paper trembling. Dad scrawl, son, forgive the will its cover. Truth's heavier. Hospital. Come alone first. Love, despite all. Harlan, come alone, Brandon echoed, heart stuttering. Shane's face drained. What truth? He said nothing to me. The drive to Mansfield General was silent fury, Shane tailing in his truck. Inside, the admin handed over a sealed file, not just a letter, but medical records, Dad's shaky signature releasing them. Nurse's station, Mr. Harlan left instructions. For both boys, in a consult room, fluorescent hum the only sound. The doctor, tall, bespectacled, opened the folder. Your father was under my care for more than the cancer. He disclosed things, end stage. Wanted you to know, to heal. Shane shifted, uneasy. Spit it out. Doc. The words fell like axes. Harlan was diagnosed HIV positive in '92. From encounters. Male encounters. Silence imploded. Shane's chair scraped back. Bullshit. Dad? With men? No fucking way. Brandon's world tilted. Pieces slotting. The suppressed rages. The tough love sermons. The disgust mirrored in Shane's mocks. There's more, the doctor continued, voice gentle. He lied to protect you both, from his shame. Told Shane homosexuality was the devil's curse, to keep you strong, but it was projection. He lived it, hid it. The farm, the will, it was all to bury that. To make Shane the real man he couldn't be. Betrayal reversed. Not Brandon erased, but Dad's fortress crumbling. Lies exposed. Shane staggered, face ashen. He made me hate you. For him, the revelation at the hospital wasn't just destruction. It was rebirth's violent tear. The consult room walls closed in. The doctor's words echoing like ricochets in a tin can. Shane's face was a ruin, eyes wild, fists balled on the formica table. The man who'd always been the unbreakable Harlan heir now fracturing like dry earth. Lies, he muttered, voice a rasp. All of it. Lies. He bolted, door banging shut, leaving Brandon adrift in the fluorescent glare. The doctor sighed, sliding the file across. He wrote notes too. For you. Inside, yellowed pages, Dad's handwriting looping like drunk fences. Bran, knew you were like me early. Feared for you. Pushed Shane to fix what I couldn't in myself. Forgive the cowardice. The farm's yours by right. Tell Shane. Love hidden too long. D. Brandon's fingers traced the ink, tears blurring the page. Love, buried under decades of silence. Yes, but real. jagged. He pocketed it, numb, and chased Shane into the parking lot. Hail pelted the asphalt, winter's bite sharpening the chaos. Shane, wait! Wind whipped his words, but his brother spun, face contorted, rage, grief, something softer, unnameable. You knew, Shane roared, closing the gap, chest heaving. All this time, playing the victim while Dad's secret rots us both. I didn't, Brandon shouted back, hail stinging like accusations. He hid it deeper than any of us. But you chose the hate. Every shove, every name, that was you. Shane's laugh cracked, bitter as black coffee. Me? He fed it. Toughen him, son. Make him man. I was 15. Bran? Lost ma. Scared shitless. Thought I was Savannah's. He raked hands through wet hair, shoulders slumping. What if? What if I'm like him too? The dreams, the urges I buried, the admission hung, vulnerable, a crack in the armor. Brandon stepped closer, rain mingling with tears. Then you're human. Like me. Like him. Stop running from it. Shane recoiled, backing toward his truck. Fuck you. This changes nothing. You're still the queer who left. Engine roared, taillights vanishing into the squall. Brandon stood soaked, file sodden in his pocket, the weight of forgiveness a stone in his throat. Alex picked him up at the airport that night, arms open in the terminal bustle. What happened? Love? He murmured, guiding him to baggage claim. In the cab to Brooklyn, words spilled, the HIV, the lies, Dad's hidden self. Alex listened, thumb stroking Brandon's knuckles. God, Bran. That's shattering. But it frees you. No more ghosts. Their loft was sanctuary, candles flickering, takeout Thai steaming on the coffee table. Alex drew him a bath, eucalyptus sharp in the steam, then joined, bodies submerging in warmth. Tell me how to hold this, Brandon whispered, head on Alex's chest. By letting it break you open, Alex replied, lips to temple. Then rebuilding. With me. Sleep came fitful, dreams of cornfields ablaze, Dad's shadow dancing free. Morning brought resolve, call Shane. Voicemail, read the note. Farm's mine, bull. Come talk. For real, the drive back was solitary, snow dusting the fields like ash. Shane waited on the porch, shotgun absent. Just a thermos of coffee peace offering? Inside, he grunted. Kitchen table, steam curling between them. I read it, Shane started, voice gravel. He cheated on Ma, with men, while preachin' hellfire, disgust warred with pity. Explains the rages. The nights he locked himself in the barn. Brandon nodded, sipping bitter brew. He was trapped. Like we all were. Shane's eyes, blue as Mom's summer skies, met his first time without venom. I mocked you, 'cause it made me feel strong. Like Dad wanted. After you left, date me. Divorce? Becky said I was cold, like I couldn't feel nothing deep. A pause. Bro. Saw you with that Alex guy. Happy. Real. Made me jealous. The word bridged chasms. Brandon leaned forward. Jealous? Of what? Of that. Love without shame. Shane's voice cracked. What if I can't? What if Dad's poison's in me? Then fight it, Brandon said fiercely. Like I did. Alex showed me it's not poison. It's power. They talked till dusk. Boyhood scraps over comics. Ma's secret stash of romance novels. The bonfire night that scarred them. Laughter crept in. Tentative, Shane mimicking Dad's tractor curses. Brandon sketching a quick caricature on a napkin. Shane's grin exaggerated to clownish proportions. Artist. Ha! Shane said, folding it carefully. Send more. To the farm. Nights blurred. Joint vigils at the empty farmhouse. Sorting Dad's things, faded letters from a J. In the 80s, cryptic with longing. Jeremiah, Brandon pieced. From faded photos. Dad, young and smiling, arm around a wiry man with kind eyes. His ghost. Shane nodded, throat working. Explains the will. Pushin' me to be what he wasn't. Betrayal thawed to understanding. Alex flew out weekends. Bridging worlds. Cooking Chicago deep dish that had Shane groaning approval. Sharing playlists of Springsteen and Sufjan. One evening, beers on the porch. Shane cornered Alex. You. Fix him, after us. Alex's gaze was steady. No fixing. Loving. He's whole. Shane clapped his back. Awkward but genuine. Good. 'Cause I ain't mockin' no more. Climax brewed slow. The farm's deed transfer. Lawyer's office stuffy with legalese. Shane signed over half. Acres split like hearts mended. Yours by blood, he said. Ours by choice, but cracks lingered. A bar night in Mansfield. Locals ribbing Shane about the city brother and his beau. Shane's fist twitched, but he laughed it off strained. Family's family. Assholes. Later, in the truck, confession, almost swung. Old habit. Brandon squeezed his shoulder. Progress. One punch at a time. Romance bloomed amid ruins. Alex and Brandon stealing mornings in the barn. Hayloft trysts where sketches turned to caresses. Bodies mapping forgiveness. You're my anchor, Alex breathed one dawn. Sunlight gilding his freckles. Even in the storm. I know, Brandon murmured, tracing his jaw. And you're my light, Shane watched. Evolving, a call to a buddy in Cleveland. Voice hesitant. Yeah, man. That time in college. Wasn't just drunk. Steps toward his own truth. Winter deepened. Snow blanketing the fields like absolution. Christmas. First joint one. Tree in the farmhouse parlor. Lights twinkling on Mom's ornaments. Gifts modest. Shane's whittled farm animal for Brandon's shelf. Alex's custom mug. World's okayest brother. Brandon's portrait of the three. Ghosts included. Toasts rang. To lies buried. But under it, tension simmered. Shane's ex sniffing around for alimony. Farm debts nipping heels. Crisis hit Valentine's. Blizzard trapped them. Power out. Candles guttered as Shane paced. Phone dead. Debts due Monday. Banks Callan the loan. Brandon, huddled with Alex by the hearth. Calculated. My half sell it? Fund a start in the city. Shane's face darkened. Sell? Dad's blood in that soil. Alex mediated. Hybrid. You run core ops. Brand consults remotely, art co-op for farm goods. Brooklyn hipsters eat that shit up. Idea sparked. Late nights brainstorming. Shane's spreadsheets. Brandon's designs for labels. Harlan roots. From soil to soul. Alex's graphics sealed it. Pitch to the bank. Trio in suits. Snowmelt dripping. Manager, skeptical, thawed at the passion. Bold. Approved, 6 months probation. Elation. Hugs in the lobby. Shane's bear crush nearly toppling them. We did it. Us. But humanism's edge. A letter from Dad's old flame. Jeremiah. Dying in Florida. AIDS complications. Your father saved me once. Pass it on. Shane drove south solo. Return changed. Eyes haunted. But lighter. He was good. Bran. Dad was good. Under it. Spring thaw mirrored thaw within. Fields greening. Brothers tilling side by side. Banter light. Pass the hoe. Glitter boy. Shane teased once. Then winced. Shit, sorry. Brandon grinned. Old habits. But you're cute when you blush. Shane chucked dirt. Laughing true. Alex proposed in the loft. Summer solstice. Rooftop under stars. Ring simple silver. Marry me. Muse. Make the chaos official. Yes. Brandon breathed. World blooming. Wedding. Hybrid, Ohio farm for family. Brooklyn reception for friends. Shane best man. Toast raw. Mocked you once. Honor you now. To brothers, blood and chosen. Vows exchanged under the oak ma planted. Alex's I do a vow to all. Yet, in quiet reflections, Dad's lie destroyed, but rebuilt stronger. Human frailty, woven with grace. Summer haze hung heavy over the Harlan farm, fireflies winking like conspirators in the dusk. It was the week before the wedding, and the fields thrummed with preparation. Volunteers from Brandon's Brooklyn Art Collective pitching tents for the ceremony. Laughter mingling with the hum of cicadas. Shane directed traffic in his element. Flannel sleeves rolled, barking orders with a grin that reached his eyes for the first time in memory. Over there, the arch. Yeah. Under the big oak. Like Bran sketched. Brandon watched from the porch. Sketchpad idle in his lap. Alex beside him nursing an iced tea. The ring on his finger caught sunlight. Promise etched in silver. Feels surreal, he murmured. Head on Alex's shoulder. This place. Home now. Alex kissed his temple. You made it so. Ghosts and all. But under the joy, Fishers lingered. The previous night, over whiskey in the barn, Shane had cracked open, admitting the divorce's rot wasn't just Becky's coldness accusation. It was me, he'd confessed, voice thick. Pushed her away 'cause I couldn't perform the role. After Jer's stories, Dad's truth, it stirred shit up. Dreams of guys from the crew. Rough hands. No words. Brandon had nodded. No judgment. Explore it. Slow. There's groups in Columbus support. No pressure. Shane's laugh was wry. Me. In a circle jerk of feelin' boys? Not. But. Thanks. For not mockin' back. Now, as dusk deepened, conflict brewed. A truck rumbled up the drive. Becky's brother, Dale, face thunderous, clutching legal papers. Shane Harlan, you dodgin' my sister? Alimony hearings tomorrow. And she says you hid assets. That farm split's bullshit. Shane's posture stiffened. The easy foreman vanishing. Dale, this ain't the time. Weddings. Wedding? To what? Your fag brother's parade. Dale spat, eyes raking Brandon and Alex. Volunteers paused, tension crackling. Alex stood, calm steel. Easy, man. Private matter. But Shane surged forward, chest-bumping Dales. Watch your mouth. Bran's family. More'n you ever were. Fists flew. Dale's haymaker glancing Shane's jaw. Shane's counter cracking ribs. They grappled in the dirt. Grunts echoing. Until Brandon and Alex pulled them apart. Dust settling like fallout. Get off my land, Shane growled. Blood trickling from his lip, the same split Brandon once wore. Dale sneered, papers fluttering. See you in court, traitor. He peeled out, leaving silence. Shane slumped against the truck, wiping blood. Shit. Becky's gonna bleed me dry now. Brandon clapped his shoulder. We'll fight it. Together. That night. Courthouse in Mansfield. Emergency hearing. Air-conditioned chill mocking the summer swelter. Becky sat prim. Lawyer droning about marital assets and hidden transfers. Shane's attorney, hastily hired, argued the farm split was post-divorce. Dad's deathbed gift. Judge, a stern woman with silver hair, eyed them. Emotional, but legal. Ms. Harlan, your claim. Becky's voice quavered. He changed after his daddy died. Cold 1 minute, hugging his brother the next, like he don't need me. And that wedding, rubbing it in. Shane leaned to the mic, voice steady. Becky, I failed you. Wasn't the farm, it was me. Hiding from myself. But the split's fair, Brands earned it. Blood and sweat, gasps rippled. Becky's eyes widened, then softened. Pity? Relief? Hide-in? Shane. The judge banged gavel. Assets stand. Counseling recommended for all parties. Outside, Becky lingered. Heard about your dad. Sorry. Call if you need to talk. A nod to Brandon. Congrats on the wedding. Redemption's whisper. Shane exhaled, deflating. One less war. Wedding dawn broke golden. Oak arch draped in wildflowers. Daisies from Mom's garden. Brooklyn orchids from Alex's artist pals. Guests mingled. Shane's crew in ill-fitting ties. Pratt alumni with tattoos and tales. Jeremiah's nephew. A quiet nod from the past. Shane, in a rented suit straining at the shoulders, pulled Brandon aside pre-ceremony. Nervous, Brandon adjusted his boutonniere, a sketch of the farm pinned delicate. About vows? Not. About us, you and me, lost in this. Shane's grin was lopsided, bruise purpling his jaw. Mocked you once. Won't again. Promise. He pressed a small box into Brandon's hand. A pocket watch. Dad's. Engraved time heals. For the groom. Tears stung. Thanks. Big bro. Vows under the oak. Alex first. Voice carrying like poetry. Brandon. You taught me love's not lines on a page. It's the mess between the shadows we shade together. I choose you. Every stroke. Brandon's turn. Throat tight. Alex. You saw me when I was invisible, bruised by family, but unbroken. With you, I'm canvas and color. Forever. Rings exchanged. Kiss ceiling, cheers erupting. Shane's whoop loudest. Reception sprawled. Barbecue pits smoking. Bluegrass band twanging. Kids chasing fireflies. Alex and Brandon danced first. Slow sway to Johnny Cash. Then pulled Shane in, awkward trio. Laughter bubbling. Later, by the fire pit, embers glowing, Shane sidled to Alex. You're good for him. Real good. Alex clinked bottles. And you're good for him too. Took guts. That court stand. Shane shrugged, gaze distant. Guts or desperation. But there's this guy at the co-op. Quiet type. Might grab coffee. Alex's smile was knowing. Do it. Life's short, Dad's lesson. Betrayal's echo faded as night deepened. But climax crested unexpected. A storm rolled in, thunder rumbling like old grudges. Tents flapped, guests scrambling, but under the oak, Brandon and Alex sheltered, rain sheeting. Run, Alex yelled, laughing. Nah, Brandon shouted back. This is us, storm and all. Lightning cracked, illuminating faces, Shane herding stragglers, his own face alight with purpose. The revelation's destruction had cleared ground for this, roots entwined, not severed. Post-wedding haze, honeymoon in the Adirondacks, cabin by a lake, days of hiking and nights of whispered dreams. Kids someday? Alex mused, fingers in Brandon's hair. Adopted? Yeah. Teach him truth over lies. Back home, the farm loft they'd renovated. Half Ohio, half Brooklyn vibe, life wove seamless. Brandon's art boomed. Exhibit of family fractures. Portraits of Shane and Dad, selling out in Chelsea. Proceeds seeded the co-op, Harlan Harvests. Organic goods with queer-inclusive branding, drawing city dollars. Shane's coffee date blossomed tentative. Mark, the quiet type, a vet with steady hands. He's patient, Shane confided over fence mending. Like you with Alex, Brandon smirked. Told ya. Wings, remember, fall brought Harvest Festival. Booths of pumpkin pie and prose, Shane emceeing with surprising charm. But undercurrents stirred, a letter from the CDC, Dad's old records flagging a potential exposure cluster. Confidential, it read. Recommend testing. Shane paled, handing it over. What if? I got it from before. Brandon's heart clenched. Test. Together. Alex too. Clinic wait. Sterile again. Echoes of that first revelation. Results negative, relief crashing like waves. But the scare bonded deeper. Monthly check-ins. Talks of prep and past. Humanism's core. Not perfection, but persistence. One night, stars wheeling overhead. Brothers on the porch, Shane with Mark's hand in his. Tentative, Brandon and Alex entwined. To Dad, Shane toasted. For the lie that set us free. Glasses clinked, fireflies approving. Yet, by kitsch loomed subtle. Winter, Mark ghosts. Too much, too soon. Shane spirals, bottle in hand, echoing Dad's shadows. Brandon finds him in the barn, dawn pale. Not alone, he says, sitting in hay. We fight shadows together. Shane's sob breaks. Scared I'll lose it all again. Won't. Loves the liebreaker. Spring renewal therapy circles in Columbus. Shane's voice steadying. Mark returns. Slower. Growth. Inch by inch. Years fold. Co-op thrives. Art tours Europe. Wedding anniversary under the oak. Vows renewed. Shane officiating. Mark beside. Climax's echo. A grandson. Adopted little Eli. Freckled like Alex. Sketching already. Uncle Shane. He yells. Toddling. Shane scoops him. Eyes misting. Hey, Sprout. Draw me a monster. Eli giggles. You're the monster, but nice one. Laughter heals. the lie destroyed, but grace endures, American as apple pie and second chances. Autumn leaves carpeted the farm drive in crimson and gold, the air crisp with the promise of cider and campfires. 5 years post-revelation, the Harlan place stood transformed. Not just acres of heirloom tomatoes and sunflowers nodding in the breeze, but a haven stitched from scars. The co-op barn, once sagging with rust, now buzzed, solar panels glinting, murals by Brandon's collective splashed across walls, vibrant queer icons intertwined with cornstalks, a nod to roots reclaimed. Brandon leaned on the fence, watching Eli 3 now, wild curls like Alex's, chase chickens with a stick sword, shrieking pirate conquests. Alex emerged from the house, toddler Mia on hip, their second, a fierce negotiator at 2, balancing a tray of mugs. "Pumpkin spice for the dads," he announced, planting a kiss on Brandon's cheek. Eli's plotting world domination via poultry. Brandon chuckled, pulling him close, Mia giggling between. "Our little anarchists." Perfect. Inside, the kitchen thrummed, Shane and Mark elbow-deep in pie dough, flour-dusting beards. Mark, solid as oak with laugh lines etching his eyes, was the steady Shane had craved. A high school history teacher who'd traded lesson plans for weekends here, planting perennials that outlasted doubts. Their adoption papers for Luca, 4, gap-toothed and obsessed with tractors, sat framed on the fridge, beside Dad's watch and a faded photo of Harlan Sr., smiling genuine. "Smells like heaven," Brandon said, ruffling Luca's hair as the boy revved a toy John Deere across the table. Shane wiped hands on his apron, pink, a gag gift from Alex, grinning. Mark's secret, lard and lies. Her love. The room erupted, easy warmth that once seemed impossible. Dinner sprawled, harvest feast under strung lights, extended family orbiting Becky and her new partner, tentative allies, Jeremiah's kin, annual pilgrims, Pratt friends with city tales. Toasts flowed to bounties, to mended fences. Later, fire pit crackling, Eli dozed on Brandon's lap, stars pricking the velvet sky. Shane settled beside, beer in hand. "Remember that first harvest after? Thought we'd lose the farm to weeds." Brandon nodded, embers reflecting in his eyes. "We almost lost each other. A beat, companionable. Nah. Blood stubborn. And you dragged me kicking. Truth's evolution. The mocking years a distant scar, faded but instructive." Shane had come out publicly 2 years back. Small town buzz, a few raised brows at the feed store, but mostly shrugs. "Live and let live, old mister." Jenkins had grunted. Mark's hand in his at the county fair? Just folks. Betrayal's ghost visited rarely now. Tax season. When Dad's old ledger surfaced. Cryptic entries hinting at hidden donations to AIDS wards in the 90s. Anonymous. "He fought quiet," Shane mused once, filing them away. "We fight loud." Romance's depth anchored. Brandon and Alex's love matured like fine whiskey, arguments over exhibit deadlines yielding to midnight collaborations, bodies familiar yet electric. Anniversaries marked with sketches. Alex's digital render of their first kiss. Brandon's oil of Eli's birth. Slick and squalling. One crisp morning. Gallery opening in Columbus. Shadows to light. Brandon's solo show. Canvases loomed. Shane's profile mid-laugh. Fists unclenched. Dad's imagined youth. Arm around a spectral Jeremiah. Alex cradling newborns, aura of quiet power. Shane arrived early, Mark and boys in tow, fidgeting in button-downs. Fancy, he whistled, pausing at his portrait. Captured the mug. Huh? That post-court shiner. Brandon smirked. Iconic. Your best side. Crowd swelled. Critics murmuring. Collectors bidding. A journalist cornered them. The Harlan brothers, from riff to this. What's the secret? Shane draped an arm around Brandon. A hospital bed. And balls to face the truth. Flashbulbs popped. But deeper. A panel discussion. Brothers tag teaming. Mockery was my armor, Shane admitted, voice carrying. Till Dad's lie stripped it. Now, vulnerability's the real strength. Q&A delved. Queer family in red states. HIV's lingering stigma. Brandon shared Dad's notes. Voice steady. He hid to protect us. We honor by living open. Applause thundered. Backstage. Alex enveloped him. Proud doesn't cover it. Climax's subtle crest. Winter solstice. Annual memorial under the oak. Now strung with lanterns. A plaque at base, Harlan, truth in the soil. Family gathered. Snow dusting shoulders. Readings. Brandon's poem on buried loves. Shane's letter to Dad. Read aloud. Voice breaking on, I forgive the fear. Eli lit a candle. Tiny hand steady. For Grandpa's secrets. Wind whispered approval. But life's bykitch wove in. Mark's diagnosis. Prostate. Early. Treatable. But the scare echoed Dad's. Pulling Shane low. Nights in the hospital annex. Echoing that first room. Shane paced while Brandon sat vigil. Alex minding kids. You're okay? Brandon murmured, echoing old comforts. We got this. Shane's grip crushed his hand. What if I ain't strong enough? You are. Like always. Remission came spring. Party in the fields. Sunflowers bowing like guests. Toasts to survival. Humanistic close. A decade on. Farm Annexus. Queer AG Co-op. Retreats for artists and farmers. Brandon's book. Liebreaker. Flies off shelves. Memoir of mockery to mending. Illustrations vivid. Shane fathers Luca through his first crush, boy at school. Innocent. Heart's heart. Son. Own it. Grandkids multiply. Eli's sketches rival Brandon's. Mia's speeches command rooms. Alex and Brandon. Silver threading hair. Dance at reunions. Hands clasped eternal. Final scene. Porch at twilight. Brothers old now. Beers sweating. Worth the wreck? Shane asks. Eyes twinkling. Brandon smiles. Alex's ghost hand in his widowed 2 years. But love lingers. Every shattered piece. Stars will. Fireflies dance. The lie destroyed. But from ashes. A legacy blooms, dramatic. Emotional. Romantic. Raw American grace. In the end, family isn't blood unmarred. It's the beautiful mend.